Well, hi folks. Sometimes it's just the small things that speak volumes. And today we're going to look at a brief observation by a chap called Felton Matthew, made in February 1840. It's about a flag, and it's just something he noticed in passing through a Māori village. But today I think it speaks volumes. What was the flag? Well, let's do some time travel and find out. So, the source for today is this book here. It's The Founding of New Zealand, the Journals of Felton Matthew, the first Surveyor General of New Zealand, and his wife, 1840 to 47. And there's a hard copy of that held in the National Library, and you can also access digital copies, including from the University of Auckland collection of early New Zealand books. So, Felton Matthew, he was at the treaty signing in early February. And then he travelled cross-country with Hobson and his party to Manunu on the Hokianga for a second big hui to discuss the treaty and get some more signatures. And Matthew records in his journal on the 17th of February that they stayed overnight at the Waimati mission station. Then they set out the next morning, and it says they soon came to a well-established Māori village. It was near Pukenui Hill, which Matthew describes as a distinctive landmark surrounded by well-cultivated fields. And actually, you can find this area on Google pretty easily today. I've got this picture here from Google for you. It shows the distinctive hill and the surrounding countryside today. So this is the area where Matthew and his colleagues were when they came to this village. And this is the comment which he recorded in his journal. He writes, "About a mile further on is another pa containing numerous habitations and entirely surrounded by a well-built stone wall 3 feet thick, which was originally intended for defence as well as for offence. The Union Jack was flying in the centre, and the whole population, headed by the chief, turned out and welcomed us in the most enthusiastic manner." And then he goes on to talk about the fencings being so easy because there's so many stones. Anyway, here we are, 10 days after the signing of the treaty, 25 k's inland from Waitangi, and we come across a Māori village happily living under the flag of the British Crown. Now, it's all a bit inconvenient because, as we know, the modern interpretation of the treaty is that the chiefs never agreed to come under British sovereignty. They only agreed to Governor Hobson having authority over Pākehā settlers, and Māori were to retain their full independent sovereignty themselves. Well, the people of this village don't seem to have got the memo. Maybe they haven't read the latest scholarship. Don't they know they're flying the wrong flag? They should at least be, they should be flying the flag of the United Tribes, or at least both flags, the Union Jack and the United Tribes flag, as a symbol of the partnership, the dual sovereignty partnership agreed at Waitangi, apparently. But flying the Union Jack, gee, that's really bad form, don't they know that? They've clearly gone down some rabbit hole of misinformation, and they need to attend a treaty re-education course. Well, I know what you're saying. Ewen, it's a very minor observation, and you're making too much of it. And I agree. Look, it's, as a piece of evidence, it's a mere dot. But the point is this: there's an awful lot of other dots out there. You can see some of them in the other videos I've made, and of course my book, One Sun in the Sky, is full of the historical evidence on this. And the thing is this: when you join all the dots up, the picture you get of how the treaty was understood by those who agreed to it and those who signed it is not of two separate sovereignties. It's not of a dual sovereignty partnership. It's a picture of the British Crown, understood by all as having the preeminent governing authority over all New Zealanders. Now, as I often say, that doesn't mean that the Crown subsequently exercised its authority fairly and justly. And the treaty settlements process is a good faith attempt to try and put some of those things right. And also, it doesn't mean that we can just ignore the Article 2 promise of protection of chieftainship. And we need to think about how we can, how we can honour that. But, the starting point for all of this needs to be the clear historical understanding that the treaty established the sovereignty of the Crown over all New Zealanders. That was the foundational unifying understanding for our nation. And those who would suggest otherwise need to explain away all the evidence which supports that. Evidence like this flag flying over a Māori village, the Union Jack flying over a Māori village just days after the treaty was signed. Anyway, that's it for today. As I say, get the book, One Sun in the Sky, and you can review the evidence for yourself. Many New Zealanders have read it now, thousands actually, and found it really helpful, enjoyed it, found it brings a lot of clarity on this issue of sovereignty and the treaty. And you can get your copy too. There's a link there where you can get a copy online. And of course, too, please subscribe and like this channel because I do intend to bring some more videos out like this one. More stories from our history, which you will enjoy. And I will see you in the next one.